Another day, another anxiety-ridden border crossing that turned into being so completely seamless. Hello, we're in Serbia. Fear-mongering bullshit on the internet, man.
It's just not as hard as people are making it out to be. We just give them our passports, they stamp them, we keep going. Like, we've even got our back covered up, so it could look like we've got drugs in the back.
So we're in Serbia. We're heading to Novi Sad, and we'll let you know what trouble we get up to when we get there.
We're here in Novi Sad, which looks like a modern city, ruled by the Austrian-Hungarian Empire for nearly 400 years. Novi Sad, as a part of Serbia and the rest of Eastern Europe, revolted against the Habsburg rule in 1848, but were unsuccessful. Novi Sad particularly was heavily bombed during this time. After the revolutions were quashed by the Austrian-Hungarian Empire, the city was rebuilt in their Germanic style. Novi Sad and Serbia gained their independence after the First World War, and First Yugoslavia began. This year, 2022, Novi Sad is a European capital of culture.
So let's start listening. Let the rain wash away the tears that keeps crippling. Now that you're looking.
Another day, another set of stairs. Search continues. The clock is right.
Don't let me down, down, down. Don't let me down, down, down. I wanna be up, 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 so high. 'Cause I've been down, down, down. I've been down, so down, and now I'm done. I'm aiming for the sky. Don't let me down.
Of the land, but we're doing a bit of a more historical walking tour today. It's the capital of Serbia, but also the capital of former Yugoslavia from its inception in 1918 until 2006, when the third form of Yugoslavia finally came to an end. It's an ancient city, but it's really new because it's been fought over 115 times and burnt to the ground 44 times over hundreds of years. Because of its geographical position between the Ottoman Empire and the Austrian-Hungarian Empire, that was the cause of conflict when it passed hands so many times. It was bombed again during World War I because Serbia was the focus of the Austrians coming through to attack them. And then during World War II, when the Nazis came through, it was bombed again. And then even though it was rebuilt, when the conflicts happened in the Kosovo wars, it was also bombed again. So it's an ancient city, but it looks like a modern metropolis because it's been rebuilt new countless times. Now it's a peaceful place and a really beautiful city. Belgrade means white city. We don't know why it's called White City, but in Serbian, Bel means white and grade means city. So there you have it. In Adelaide, the Serbian soccer team is called White City, which is a little bit a cause of contention because it has racial implications, but it has nothing to do with that at home or here at all.
So we're here at St. Sava Temple, which is named after St. Sava. Rumour is that St. Sava is buried somewhere below this temple. Now he is known to be the founder of Serbian Orthodox religion. This temple is actually quite modern, even though St. Sava's from a long, long time ago. The design was created in 1926 as part of a competition. It was a second competition, and apparently the second place winner is the guy that got his design over the board. That doesn't make sense to me. Maybe it makes sense to you guys. Building started, but it was quickly halted in the 1940s due to World War II, and it halted at only about 10 metres high. So it was used as a munitions storage by the Germans during their occupation here. And then after World War II, obviously communism sort of came into play, and because of communism kicking out church as head of state, there was a bit of a ban on building churches and things like this. So building didn't actually recommence for a long time, not until the 1980s, where they finally got permission, and the weakening communist stronghold and church regaining its power allowed for the building to recommence. And then years later it was finally finished, and it's what we see here today. So relatively modern structure in, as Danielle said, a town that keeps getting razed to the ground. What do you think?
It's incredible. It's beautiful. It's amazing. It's amazing how much money is available to build places like this when you don't have to pay tax as an institution.
Right, so we just walked out of the Nikola Tesla Museum. Unfortunately, we weren't allowed to record too much while we were in there during the tour, and it's absolutely worth doing if you come to Belgrade and you're slightly interested, because it's a hands-on tour and it's pretty fun. Nikola Tesla, born in Serbia, and then has been all over Europe and eventually ended up in America as a part of what's called the current war, where Edison's a big fan of direct current and Tesla's a big fan of alternating current. But Tesla was really big in moving away from direct current, which was the electricity favour of the day, and moving towards alternating current, and was big in the design and invention of the induction motor, which we're still using today all over the world, all over plants everywhere, and really changed the way we operated as a people and kicked off the second industrial revolution through that design and that process.
How's the Gil at being at the Tesla Museum and Tyler just wants to have heaps of chat about electricity because he's an electrical engineer. He's like, you know how batteries blah 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 and the ions and the thing. No, I don't know. And it's terrible because all throughout this trip it's, history is my jam and I get to share that with you and you don't get to share it with me because I don't understand.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate.
Electrical idiot.
Because geographically they're in this really interesting corridor almost to the rest of Europe. So the Ottoman Empire is over here, and then the Austrian-Hungarian Empire is over here. The Ottoman Empire then has control in this kind of Eastern, Middle Eastern European region and wants to come through and take over the West. And the Austrian-Hungarian Empire is over here and wants this region to stop the Ottomans then coming through. And then Stalin's up northwest in Russia and has more things in common with the Slavic general blanket community of these 6 countries down here. So then Stalin comes in and gives support to Serbia when the Austrians launch attack that starts World War I. And then it's all just a scenario, and it's why Hitler came in and took over the region. Well, we want to take over all of Europe. But this is why it's a common cause. So even though there's different religions and different cultures and languages against the 6 countries, they were a united front, then we can become a bloc that's against the Soviets, against the Germans, against the Austrians, against the Ottomans.
Yeah.
And it worked. It worked. But then that also causes the breakdown because at the end of the day there's differences between them. So when Tito dies in the breakdown of communism, socialism across Europe extensively at the end of the 80s, then people start, Slovenia is given a peaceful goodbye, Croatia is more peaceful, but because Bosnia had more of a, more of a mix of the different, in Croatia it's Catholic, in Serbia it's Orthodox, but in Bosnia it's Catholic, Orthodox and Muslim as well.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
then there's more conflict in that region.
That's what we saw when we were there.
Yeah. It's like showboating, peacocking. Like part of socialism is anti-capitalism. You didn't have like showy things that just separated you in the class system as being above anyone else. So in the socialism, everyone wore like comrade uniforms for a reason. In like communist countries, to show that you're a comrade, you're like the working man, and that we're all equal, even though it's bullshit. Where he was like, I'm gonna rock around in white suits, yo. Like, I am the leader of this motherfucking thing. But then that kind of like authenticity was endearing because it showed his acceptance of like Western market ideals, which let this form of socialism rather than like a fascist dictator communist regime thrive.
Yeah.
We saw it all, man. 1892, the turn of the century, the First World War. No, the birth of communism, Russian Revolution, the breakdown of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, the breakdown of the Ottoman Empire, like the spread of communism around the world, socialism, World War II. He saw it all except the breakdown.
Of Yugoslavia.
I suppose it's nicer that way. So Tito didn't actually die here. Or was he born? He was born in Austrian-Hungarian Empire, which is now recognised as Croatia, and he died in Slovenia. But this is his summer home, and because Serbia was the capital of Yugoslavia on all three iterations, and his second Yugoslavia, I suppose it makes sense. Yeah, overlooking the city. Metaphor. We've made it to the Belgrade Fortress, which is the jewel of the city. It was built in 279 BC and sits at the converging point between the Danube River, which also connects the rest of Eastern Europe, and the Sava River, which runs all the way through Serbia and connects it to Bosnia. Even though there was so much back and forth between Austrian powers, Ottoman powers, battles with Kosovo, all of the burning to the ground that we told you about earlier, the fortress has managed to sort of endure, even though it's had to be rebuilt in certain parts and change in a lot of ways. It stayed here for thousands of years. Probably the only sign of the remnants that this was an ancient city. This energy is not meet and match.
I just had my first superpower since retiring from football.
Was your football career as long lasting as that superpower?
This isn't a sipping spoon, is it? If you haven't picked this up from this channel yet, I fucking despise spirits straight.
Thanks Thanks heaps for watching. If you liked this video, click on the playlist to watch the rest of our European adventure. You can see where we started and how the bloody hell we got here. On Never Not.